Hey guys, welcome back to Words of War. My name is Jorge Guerra.
And I'm Sergio Guerra.
And today we're going to be reviewing 50 Shades of Grey. So 50 Shades of Grey, it's actually a book series. There's 3 books. This is the first installment in the movie series. It stars Dakota Johnson, which is Melanie Griffin's daughter, and Jamie Dornan as Mr. Grey. I always forget his first name. Christian Grey. But it stars them to Anastasia, which is the main character. She meets this billionaire tycoon, which is Mr. Grey, and there's like this instant kind of like chemistry between them, and she like it's just a story about pretty much her falling in with him, and this whole story arc of how she kind of discovers that, or comes to find that that he's into like BDSM, and like she's trying to figure out if she's against it or for it, or if she's willing to like take that from him, or it's just this big old roller coaster about her kind of decisions on who this guy is, if she's willing to do these things for him, and so on and so forth. So what did you think about the movie?
I thought that if it was a roller coaster, it wouldn't have any ups or downs. It's like the world's straightest roller coaster. This movie is very one note, and I have to say I haven't read the books, so I don't know if there's a lot more story than there was to the film. But as far as the film goes, I didn't think there was much to it. There wasn't anything in there really, like, for all the controversy that there is around this movie and or the books. There's like groups like 4 women right now that are boycotting the film, and they're asking people, instead of spending money at the film, to like donate to like battered women's shelters and stuff like that, which is a very noble cause. So I thought, okay, well, this must be really bad, like they're saying that it's demeaning to women and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, as far as the movie goes, maybe not the books, but there's not anything really in this movie that hasn't been seen in even like comedies. I think we've seen worse stuff in TV and all that. The only difference is that this whole movie was nothing but that, And if you've never ever seen, heard, or done any of the kind of things that Christian Grey does to Anastasia, then maybe it would be a bit shocking, but I don't think it even goes above that. Like I said, the movie seems very one note. I particularly didn't necessarily like the acting at all. It may not be the actor's fault, because the script seemed very very bad romance novel-ish to me. They had like just, oh my God, some lines that were so bad, I love you, Christian Grey. No, you can't love me. Don't love me. And I probably did a better job right now. And I'm not an egomaniac. I'm just saying it was worse than that. So, it's 2 hours of practically the same stuff over and over. At least that's how it felt to me. And I don't think I'm a super kinky guy. It's not like everything just, oh, that's whatever. No, it's just that nothing's really out of the ordinary for me. What do you think?
I thought kind of the whole controversy that's going on with it, and even before then, just the way the books were being described as being like super saucy and all this different stuff. It really was kind of, like you said, very one note. There was even there was girls in the audience when we were gonna go watch it that like when it first started, it was like ooh ah, like they were vocalizing the fact that ooh, so hot, oh this and that, and literally mid movie all that stopped, because like you said, it was very it's the introduction, and then I'd say about like 10 minutes of a scene or things going on, and then that same little circle, just rinse and repeat over and over. And then there's just things in this movie that are ridiculous, like, oh, I the lines that you said, oh, I don't do romance, but then 2 minutes later, it's like romantic stuff. It's, it was just the story itself. It felt like a mix between Cinderella and Beauty and the Beast, and then just really badly told. Like, it was just very boring, this meek girl, there was really no sense of discovery, no sense of anything. It looked like she was giggling through most of the stuff, and and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, this big of a drama. So the movie was kind of all over the place in what it was trying to say. That's what it felt like. And for 2 hours, it felt longer. Like we watched a 2.5 hour movie right before this one, and that felt shorter than this 2 hour movie, just because it wasn't really going anywhere. Like movies usually take you to somewhere else different, and this really wasn't that much. And like Sergio was saying, as far as the things that were done, like nothing was over the top. Nothing was like, and honestly, nothing you wouldn't see in. You've seen worse in Game of Thrones, in all honesty. So it's it's nothing in that sense of like awe or wonder or anything, and it just gets, for me being a guy, for a movie that's supposed to be about sex, it just got very boring by like less than half of the way through the movie.
Yeah,
so,
most of the movie, there's like, a naked girl up for most of the movie. And if that can't, I mean, maybe it's just us, or not really just us, because we talk to other guys at the movies theater, but maybe for us guys or whatever, it just wasn't working. But like George said, at the beginning of the movie, you heard like the gasps and stuff from the women in the audience, and swooning and all sorts of really crazy stuff. It's like, calm down, ladies, but halfway through the movie, that totally stopped because it was boring. Mm-hmm. It got to the point where, like, as a film, maybe there's a lot more story or there's a lot more meat to this in the books. But in the movie, it just didn't seem like it. And the thing is, like George said, for a guy, a movie that's supposedly sexually charged like this, and like I said, there's a girl walking around, beautiful girl, naked for most of the film. It felt like it dragged on. Like you were watching the same scene over and over, and it's kind of like if you were to watch a like softcore porn produced for the Playboy channel, but with all the sex, really taken out.
Yeah, it felt like they were trying to be really artsy with it, I guess, to try to be tasteful in the sex scenes, but it just worked against them. Like it took away kind of like, I think, some of the passion that maybe is there in the book, I'm guessing. You know what I mean? Especially compared to how people were describing it. But, I mean, what would you end up rating the movie?
There's a lot of things, before I do the rating, there's a lot of things that I actually didn't enjoy about the movie. It's not just about, okay, well, maybe, we got into the idea that this was going to be a very sexually charged film where there was going to be all sorts of weird, kinky stuff in it, and it just kind of didn't deliver totally on that, Like I said, you've seen most of this stuff on TV already. So take that away and just look at the story, and I didn't think the story was very strong. Like George said, it's kind of like Cinderella-ish, trying to do that. They call her Anastasia. And you got the whole, like, prince. I mean, modern day prince, he's a billionaire. He can't even be a millionaire. He's a billionaire, 27-year-old hot guy or whatever. And, they really pile on all the things for this guy. And you've got this girl that's very, like, meek and, doesn't really know much about the world. Totally and, literally a virgin. And so this guy's like awakening all this stuff supposedly in her. That could be very interesting, and it's been done in other places very interesting. Not in this movie. And like I said, that's the story part. It could be the screenplay, maybe because the lines, were really heavy-handed. Some of the stuff was very, like trashy novel or, old soap opera-ish, type dialogue. And then to add to it, I didn't particularly think that the acting was very strong on either of the protagonists. And since you spend most of the movie, there's almost nothing else going on in the film besides these two characters. So since you spend most of the movie with these two, and they rarely emote anything real, or it's kind of like just wobbly and you're not really sure where their footing is as far as like what their characters really are feeling or anything like that. And it doesn't seem like it's engineered that way. That's how it turned out. I just had a hard time wanting to follow the story. It wasn't interesting to me at all. So because of all those things, it was shot well and everything, but I wouldn't watch this film again. I'm actually interested now in reading the book just to see if this missed it by a huge mark. But I'd give this movie a 6. You know, just because it could have been worse. You know, there are some parts in it that are interesting. In the middle of the movie, you know, you kind of start getting like an actual relationship going on between the two characters, but it just devolves again and gets boring. And for some reason, they're going up and flying planes in the middle of the movie for no reason. So yeah, so I think a 6, you know, on the lowest end of a 6 is the best that I can do for this. I don't know. You?
I honestly, I would go 5.5, even though just because I'm a big fan of romance stories, and this, just the story was, to me, it felt like it was all over the place. Like, it just didn't know, not that it didn't know where it was going, but it just felt like it was full of its own contradictions, and it was full of its own stereotypes. And it was just this whole, it was a story of this girl chasing this guy who didn't want to be changed, but she was going to change him, and it was for her. And it was just, it was so not organic. It felt totally unorganic, and it just felt very, very see-through. Like, you literally could have resolved that movie in 5 minutes. Like, it's just where that story was for me. So it didn't, what I expect from a movie sometimes is just for it to take me somewhere, tell me a good story, and have a good time. And none of those 3 things came together. I do agree that some parts were shot well. I like the soundtrack to it, maybe. So I would go with like a 5.5. And yeah, so yeah, that's where it would stand for me.
And the thing is, you know, maybe, I could totally see with this movie, of course, you know, that probably the way that girls look at us when we're watching movies with, like, you know, quote, quote, bimbos, you know, like just hot chicks that maybe aren't great actresses, and we kind of don't care, and the dialogue doesn't matter. What, you know, I know I've had, like, you know, friends and stuff before that are girls that go like, how can you watch that?
Or like, so things stupid. Like Die Hard, and people are like, oh.
Well, no. I'm talking specifically about women's roles. Because, because the thing is, we will let all that go. We don't care if you're a great actress. We don't care if it's a good movie sometimes. If it's like, if it's a hot chick doing it, we're just kind of like, okay, you know? And that's what I think girls did for this film. I know it was written, the book was written by a woman, the film was directed by a woman, so I don't think there's much of like the male, you know, energy directing where this would go. And so it seems very much like it's not like, you know, a guy's idea of what a girl wants. It's like a girl's idea of what a girl wants. And they had a handsome, really hot guy that had all these girls swooning. They probably didn't care if the acting wasn't too great. They probably didn't care that the story wasn't amazing. So I guess my point is, if you've watched it and you're a girl, you're a woman, and you think totally different than us, let us know why. Go ahead and you know, leave us a comment. Let us know why you thought it was good. If you thought it was good, or do you agree with us? You know, and
if you read the books and you think something completely changes that too, let us know in the comments. I mean, like Soja said, I kind of just want to read the books to see how different it is now. You know, but again, I mean, let us know in the comments. As always, you could click that subscribe button; it'd be amazing. Click the likes as well. But again, my name is Jorge Guerra,
and I'm Sergio Guerra,
and you have a good one. Bye.